Mhm.
All right, on this episode of Bare Knuckle Bowker, very excited to be talking to an individual who is going to be vying for the BKB Interim Lightweight Championship, and that takes place at BKB 41 Brawl in Duval 2 on May the 31st. And very excited to be talking to one of the individuals stepping into the Mighty Trigon. Jarod Grant will be stepping in there against Rawand Ouba, and great having Rawand on Bare Knuckle Bowker today. How you doing, man?
Good, thank you. Thank you. How you doing? All right?
Yeah, no,
So,
doing well, man. Just this must be such an exciting opportunity for you, and just with it being fight week, heading into a bare knuckle championship fight, I imagine the mood is in a good way. Like I imagine you're excited about the opportunity, etc.
yeah, man. I've been preparing a lot for this fight. When I got offered Grant, I was watching him before, and to be honest, when I was watching the list, I was looking at the rankings. I was like, he's the one guy you don't want to fight. I wanted to fight. Was it Shark? Mark the Shark, right? And I was watching like number one. He went to one weight class above, and then Julio. As you see, this guy's ducking everyone. I guess. I know I'm not in the top ranking to call him out yet, but I don't see him as the champ right now. I see Grant as the champ because he's been in another organizations. So I want to go there and put a statement and finish this guy. Not even go to distance. I know I went to distance last time, but I want to even challenge everybody in BYB at this card. Dada, Jim, all the guys. If no one gets a finish, let's not get paid. I don't want to get paid if I don't get a finish. One of us needs to get a finish. And I challenge everyone in the card as well. No finish, no pay. That's what I would call everybody in the card.
I mean, there is something about that Mighty Trigon, just with it being the most compact competitive space in combat sports. I mean, such a high finishing rate. So, I mean, that's not out of the realm of possibility per se that, none of these fights go the distance. There is a certain, I guess, rarity component to that with a space like the Trigon. Is there something you see in, I guess, Grant's approach where you think the knockout will, I guess, materialize through the fight? Is it something you took away from your prior bare knuckle fight that you think can, I guess, apply here and whatnot? Like, what's the mentality in that regard, I guess?
Well, in my previous fight, I started strong, and then I started going down, and that's something I'm fixing for this camp because I got very fast knockdown, could have finished, and we went the distance. Grant is a little bit the opposite. This guy starts slow and then start finishing strong in the end. So one of us is gonna either get finished early or late. So either he comes in late or I'm finishing him early. You know what I mean? So we'll see what whose whose game plans probably. And I've been working with different people. I had people coming from Holland, a guy named Diela Zegas. He fought in Bellator and other shows. He's going to be very good in the bare knuckle scene. He hasn't got the chance yet. This guy hits very hard as well. So I don't think even if I manage to survive his punches, I'll survive Grant for sure, 100%. So
Yeah, I love hearing that. And, a lot to talk about with this fight for sure, but I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about your prior foray in the Trigon because, quite the slugfest was had there at BYB 33. Like, I know you're talking about how in this fight you're very specifically looking to not go the distance as you did in that fight, but a comprehensive performance in as far as getting the unanimous decision win there. So, like, what were the big takeaways from that November fight you had there at Wolverhampton Brawl on their 33rd card?
well, with Clemedi was a very tough fight to be honest. I wasn't. The guy has heart. He has heart. Like when I dropped him in the first 5 seconds, something, I thought it was like it's done. But the guy kept going, kept going, kept going, and I was thinking, gonna try to get 90% finish rate. Da da da. We're not gonna touch the distance. And the longer the fight, I was like, "Fuck, man, it's different when you're fighting in a triangle. You can't run around. You 90 like 99% of the time, you're just in the pocket, in the pocket, in the pocket. So it's so much. you have to think about it as well, and you don't even have the chance to, let's say, to plan before the punch. It's like you go in the middle, boom, 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 for what was it, 4 or 5 rounds last time. So, and this one is title fight, so it's 6 rounds, so it's way longer. And I think it's more minutes as well than the last one. The last one was two. This one is three. So it's going to be a lot of pace going up and down for 3 minutes. So that'll be good to show. So
And you talked about, I mean, this was like a feature piece that was done on you leading into this fight, but you were talking about the prior effort fighting in the Trigon and just what a unique experience it is and how not everyone necessarily gets the chance to do that. And you seemed excited to experience it again. I guess I'm just kind of curious because I've talked to some fighters who compete in BKB that in their own kind of way, like in their home gym or just rather like the gym they're training at kind of thing. Like they're in a way trying to curate a similar space to a Trigon. Like some people I've even seen go as far as like setting up ropes to like literally create a triangle to replicate the competitive scenario on fight night. Like, do you do anything specific in your preparations to account for the Trigon, just considering you have boxing and MMA experience and whatnot? Like, is fighting in the Trigon something that causes you to curate your camp differently to be mindful of the space?
well, I know this sounds very weird, but I do like to keep the triangle only when I fight. So I know people you should adapt to it and so on. We do train and spar in a very small boxing, but we don't try and replicate the triangle. Even before the fight, I don't go and fill it out. I know you should. I just like to go there and get like the real experience in the middle of the fight. So I don't know how to say it, but I always save it for the fight. So I do have in the preparation, like I said, we do train in a small ring, so to have the same feeling ish. But to replicate the trigon, I just keep it to the fight. So
Yeah, I mean that makes sense in its own way. I can understand the mindset in that regard too, because I've also talked to some fighters who do a similar thing to what you just outlined. But you were talking about how in this camp you've been bringing in some outside fighters and whatnot. Are you still predominantly out of Cop's gym heading into this fight?
oh yeah, so this one is in Kent. I've been doing it in the UK. I have a very good coach called Gavin Churchman. He's been helping me a lot. I've been with this camp. We did it very differently as well. I've been staying in the gym, so to get avoid all the distraction. So I've been living in the gym, been changing our schedule to the Florida time because we're not gonna have a lot of days to go there and acclimate. So I've been training late, similar to the Florida time. I've been doing a lot of sessions. I've been away from my family, away from everything. So just to get more hunger every time I'm thinking about it's not worth it now. It's like I'm too late. Now I have to put it on. I sacrificed so much. That's why I had people who I used to train in Holland from cups and so on come down and help me. I've trained with some English champion in boxing, pro boxers. They've been helping me, but it's like, I've been having different type of people with boxing background to come in, like the MMA, uh, off unlicensed boxing, pro boxing, just to get all that in. So
Yeah, and it's interesting because I did mention before you have the prior experiences in both MMA and gloved boxing. And while bare knuckle is its own sport with its own unique set of considerations, like how much from your, I guess, experiences in MMA and boxing can you kind of transfer the skill set over into your bare knuckle game and whatnot?
well, it's with the bare knuckle, it's very very different. I know a lot of people just see it as you swing and brawl and so on. But I think you need to get the heart. You need a like proper heart. That's one thing I've seen a little bit lack in the bare knuckle. People don't have that much heart when they get hit with the bare knuckle. Trying to recover from injuries. I said that also in the thing because and the bare knuckle is so pure. So I don't know. it's very hard to like in other sports. In MMA, you put MMA gloves, you train with it and so on. In bare knuckle, you can't spar bare knuckle. You can't really do as similar as in any sport like boxing. You put the gloves and that's it. So that's one thing I would say is different. So yeah.
And it's interesting because you made that reference to highlighting the recovery time from injuries and that feature piece that was done on you. Like, is there anything you took away from that Wolverhampton fight where you can fight in a more, I'm trying to find a way to phrase this, like in a way that's, I guess, economical to serve the idea of not sustaining as much damage this time out? Like, was there anything you took away from that prior bare knuckle fight that can help you subvert and minimize injury and damage in this fight at all?
Well, in this one, of course, to fight a bit smarter. I was fighting more from instinct on the last one. This one is more, I've been there. Now I know what to do. What's the difference? Because I even, after that BYB fight, I even had one pro boxing fight with a former UFC fighter. So in Kazakhstan. So I'm taking all that stuff to learn about, okay, uh, the way I have to punch is a little bit different in bare knuckle, and you can't punch as often as when you're wrapped with gloves. It's like so much you have to consider. So you have to be more like a sniper. You got to be sharp. You got to be precise, and that's the difference I would say than just swing and hope to land a good shot.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the way you were talking about Grant before, he struck me as someone that you were already acutely aware of. Like I know I keep referencing this feature piece, but it seems like within that you were also talking about how he's like a guy that you always foresaw as someone that would eventually become a champion within BKB. And then when this bout offer came your way, it was one of those moments where it's like, okay, well, I'm in here to fight the best, and this guy is really up there in that sense. Like, what are your thoughts on, I guess, just the skill set and resume that Grant brings to the table? Because he seems like such a veteran in the sport, and like the only losses he has had have been to world champions and whatnot. And he previously captured gold in BKFC. So, just in saying all of that, like, what are your thoughts on the resume and skill set of Jarod Grant heading into this one?
Well, he's very good. He's very skilled. He's experienced, and and the style, the way he fights, feel like a little bit very confident, cocky, likes to dance and so on. So he's it's he's a highlight. So that's pretty good for me to get the chance to finish him and to go there and beat him because he's a big dog in the division, and the underdog is gonna go and beat that guy. So I can't wait.
Yeah, because I was seeing that you were, I guess, looking at him as someone who almost has like a little bit of a similar style to what you have, but you touted his boxing background and I guess the fundamentals he brings to the table. But you were also talking about it being a particularly chaotic fight or one that would, very much have the potential to end up being a chaotic fight. Is part of this fight almost forcing the issue and getting him out of that sort of approach you were talking about, like almost like that flashy, kind of like cocky-ish, like dance around the ring. He's got the fundamentals, he's got the boxing background. Like, is I guess a big part of this almost making it an ugly fight, for lack of a better way to phrase it, and really forcing the issue in a certain sense?
Well, I would say I've seen him lose. I've seen him get finished. So and I haven't been finished yet. So knock on wood. So that's the thing that is he's beatable. He's very good. He's so on, but I've seen that he can get broken. He breaks. So that's the on Saturday I'm gonna be the third one who finishes him. So
Yeah, and I mean, what a statement win that would be. Like I said, he's a former interim BKFC champion, has such a deep resume in the game. And I know the timeline isn't necessarily that concrete with him returning because of the injury, but that would set you right up for a Julio Tanori fight. It's interesting because obviously you're predominantly focused on this fight and the challenges that Grant is going to bring when you guys throw down in Jacksonville, but it's impossible to ignore that presence of the champion Julio Tanori just with the interim champion innately, going up to that title unification fight thereafter. So is there like a peripheral awareness at all of Julio Tanori as well?
Not really. I don't really count him in. He's the paper champ. That's how I see him. Uh, I never rated that guy. I never saw him as danger or good. I know he beat Mark, and I don't know. Like for me, it's a fluke. He beat him twice. I know, but I don't see him as number one. He's the champ. But when I beat Grant, then I feel that that's the real belt, and then I can beat Julio. Because if you can beat Grant, you can beat Julio. That's how I see it.
It's kind of interesting because also the way you were talking about Mark Irwin earlier, like how there was maybe some loose discourse about that fight happening, and it seemed like you were almost more excited about the Grant offer and just how you were talking about Tenori and whatnot. Like, do you almost see Grant as like the standout best fighter in your division right now heading into this fight as far as the rankings, etc.?
Yeah, for me, I see more because it's entertainment business as well. So even Julio is the champ, um, Grant has more of a highlight around him, more hype. The same as Mark. That's why I was chasing them hard fights, people names to take out. Because right now I'm no one, but Saturday I will be someone. So that's why I'm trying to get the fights. Julio is the champ, but he doesn't really count in my opinion. He doesn't count.
Yeah, it's just such an interesting fight. Like you talked about, how like heading into this, you don't necessarily see yourself as someone that really has that big name right now, but you're talking about how this fight could potentially vault you to that, I guess, status of notoriety and whatnot. Like, is that something that excites you in a sense? Just the idea that a win like this could really catapult yourself into the, I guess, public consciousness of the combat sports world that much more?
Yeah, I feel that is something that I really need. It's a very big step, and I feel I'm made for them big steps to take. I know not everybody, some people break and so on, uh, and some people like to say you crawl before you run and walk. I wanna fly before I even crawl. So I want to go straight to the big fights, the hard ones. Going to Florida, the guy from Miami to fight him. He's back. I don't mind. Just go there, and then Julio can either come to the UK or welcome him, or even fight him in Mexico. I don't care. So the big fights, that's what I want. The big names, the hype. So that's what I'm made for.
And I was seeing in some of the social media posts from the official BKB accounts that you represent Norway. Like, have you been really feeling a strong support from your countrymen in your combat sports endeavors? Like, do you feel like a certain amount of support with people really wanting to see a Norwegian BKB champion emerge from this upcoming fight?
Well, so the thing is, I grew up in Norway, so Norway is my second home. My ethnicity is Libyan, but Norway's a place I would call home. That's where I grew up. That's where I live and everything. But the sport is not legal there, neither MMA or the bare knuckle. So me going there and getting that belt, putting a highlight in the sport, will make history. I'll be the first Norwegian, first North African as well, and probably for my weight division, the first one from the UK to get it in my weight class. So it's trying to get them history books and everything in the history. So
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you're well positioned to do a lot of really big things with this fight as we've been talking about. And I did notice your nickname was the Turtle. I'm always very curious about the origins and the backstories of fighter nicknames. So, like, how did you come to become known as the Turtle?
So if you watch my MMA fights, you would understand it's very simple. Some people like to say, "Oh, I got no neck, they can't choke me," but it's very hard to get a submission, especially rear naked choke. Like people will be on my back, I'll just talk and chill and wait for them to get something, but it would never get my neck.
Yeah, I guess there's certain yeah, advantages one has depending on the combat sport. I guess that really worked out well for you. I mean, obviously you don't have to worry about any of these extra variables in this bare knuckle fight. It's just really isolated to the infighting and then the at range boxing. So yeah, I mean, I get what you mean though.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, I'll be the turtle in the bare knuckle where no, because we're allowed to clinch. So we'll see if he can get my neck.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. But I really appreciate you making the time to talk ahead of this fight. It's definitely an exciting one and one that has a lot of importance as far as just the hierarchy of the promotion going forward. And just seems like such a great time for the company, like that Vice TV deal that they have. And just really seems like they're, firing off on all cylinders. But again, really appreciate you making the time. But I do want to be mindful of your schedule, Rawand. So is there maybe a final parting thought you were wanting to add as we're kind of wrapping things up here, man?
Well, yeah, I want to thank everybody who helped me for the preparation, and as well Jim Freeman, the matchmaker in the UK, and Mel for this fight. So stay tuned, guys. Remember to get the pay-per-view, and there's going to be a lot of blood.
It's going to be an incredible fight if you've seen either Rawand Ouba or Jarod Grant throw down. It's going to be an awesome fight, and I'll certainly be tuning in May 31st to check out BKB 41 Brawl in Duval 2. We got that interim lightweight championship on the line. And again, Rawand, thanks so much for coming on Bare Knuckle Bowker and giving some great insights today. I'll be peeping the fight when it happens. But until then, you have a good rest of your day. And yeah, thanks so much, man.
Anyways, thank you very much. Thank you. You have a nice one.